Good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here on BQ Prime. It's the end of the earnings season and therefore the domestic news flow suddenly falls off the cliff. It'll happen today as well. It won't be a very short trade setup, but broadly stock-specific approach will continue because FI buying and the DI buying keeps Indian markets in a positive territory. The global news flow first. Fed officials see upside risks to inflation, possibly leading to more rate hikes as per the minutes. Asian markets have fallen further as the Fed hints at these higher rates. In fact, a sign of what's happening globally comes in from Japanese export data, which shrunk for the first time in more than 2 years. Oil has extended decline as China concerns and the Fed warning take toll. And in other news, Foxconn's Sriperumbudur plant is getting ready to deliver the new phones. Now, this is a big shot in the arm from an Indian phone export perspective. But the global markets aren't exactly pretty. I know Monday we did well, but both Tuesday and Wednesday, the US markets have fallen. The Nasdaq has fallen 1% apiece on both of the days. Both the Dow and the S&P too, not as weak as the Nasdaq, but down in the session as well. We know that the VIX has stayed higher, and we know the yields have stayed higher. 4.28 is a really sharp uptick. VIX about 2.5% lower though yesterday, and the dollar index 103.45. The GIFT Nifty, well, maybe flattish. So the Indian markets are actually withstanding the selling pressure pretty well. Now, yesterday, for example, when we were talking about the charts with Gautam Shah of Goldilocks, he said that there's a lot made between the rise in the dollar index and what it could mean for our markets and so on and so forth. He said in his 20-25 years of looking at charts, there are various points of time or periods wherein there is absolutely no correlation between what the dollar index does and what the Nifty or the Sensex do. He believes this could be one such moment as well. The Indian markets are just kind of standing out. And you could argue that some bit of that is visible in the way the markets behaved yesterday as well. So Nifty closed in the top quartile of the day's range yesterday, which to my mind is a small positive. Now, yesterday on trade, we are not soothsayers. I mean, I I do not profess knowing what the markets will do, but I do believe in telling you everything that I hear from people on the index. Frankly, I don't think too many people know, but some people make an educated assumption on what could happen based on charts or quant or FNO data. And yesterday, the call was that large leverage longs will not be a good idea. We ended in the green, in the top quartile, like I said, of the day's range. And therefore, it is actually going to be a stock specific market and better to trade specific pockets as opposed to trading the index. Metals continue to look skittish unless the China and news flow change. In fact, if I'm not wrong, yesterday metal index probably was the top loser in trade. And you can see that the action continues in PSU names and may help to actively hunt for bottom-up ideas in that pocket. Yesterday, for example, BQ Prime put out this story of an interview with Garden Reach shipbuilders and talking about how some of the shipbuilders might get a great piece of the action, 1.2 lakh crores or thereabouts. And you saw a bunch of these PSU and private shipyard companies really doing well. Dredging Corporation was up, and I'll get to that numbers, that the stocks in a bit. But the point being that PSU stocks are essentially the ones that are seeing a lot of action. Yesterday, I think it was Gautam Shah, somebody else who spoke about how PSU banks are actually still hugging the 52-week high levels, whereas the bank Nifty is actually succumbed to a lot of selling pressure. So there's a bit of a dichotomy in PSU banking as well. And therefore, watch out for PSU pockets. They're somehow getting orders. They're starting to get the valuation multiples maybe, which is what is keeping these stocks active. Be very careful though, not every name will do well. There are fund manager after fund manager who comes and says that they don't want to do B2G companies at all. But currently, it is actually B2G or PSU names which are doing well. Flows were positive, which was interesting yesterday. Might have been due to odd deals as well, but 722 crores put in by FIIs, DIs bought 2406 crores, which was a small positive. Now, stocks to watch. Yeah, first set of stocks is those names which had. Okay, let's talk about the deals first. The two block deals that happened. So Adani Power, GQG Partners, EM Fund, and Goldman Sachs bought about 15.2 crore shares, 3.9%. The actual number is much higher, but the exchange reported numbers that we could get was this number. Like I said, the actual number much higher than this. If I'm not wrong, 8.1% bought in Adani Power for about $1.1 billion, nearly 9,000 crores worth of shares bought. And, and he shot in the arm, if you will. And therefore, watch out for Adani Power. And also just the fact that there's a large multi-billion-dollar fund which keeps on buying into these names because they believe that infrastructure should be done differently. By the way, they also bought into JSW Energy. So it's not that GQG is actually buying a bunch of these India story names, but a large allocation towards Adani Group stocks. As per his interview with me, which is there on our website and on our social media handles and YouTube, that he believes that infrastructure in India should be valued differently. It's not being valued in the correct fashion according to his metrics, and therefore he believes that there's a lot of value in these names, which explains. And frankly, power is actually a very active pocket, right? We've seen what's happened to power ancillary companies as well in the last few days, so last few weeks actually. So no reason why power producers or power generators may not be favored too. And these stocks have done well, by the way, Adani Power, JSW Energy, etc. So watch out for these. Standard. Okay, yep, this is the interview. Thank you, Virat, for bringing this up. But he goes at length in this to explain why he believes that infrastructure should be valued differently. You try and see this if you want to take a look. A standard disclaimer, of course, that Adani Media Networks owns 49% stake in Quintillion Business Media, the owner of BQ Prime brand, and AMNL has entered into an MOU to acquire the balance 51% stake as well. Post-acquisition, QBML will become a wholly owned subsidiary of Adani Media Networks, AMG Media Networks, excuse me. So watch out for Adani Power and JSW Energy. Price band revisions seen in companies like PTC Industries, Dreamfolk Services, and Johnson Controls. So in PTC Industries, the price band has been revised from 10% to 5%, and in Dreamfolks and Johnson Controls revised from 20% to 10%. Opposite ends of the spectrum were Dreamfolks and Johnson Controls. Johnson had a big bang up move yesterday. Dreamfolks, we know post results has been a bit of sluggish mover. So watch out for these names. In fact, speaking of Johnson Controls, let's pull up a list of the stocks which actually had a good price and volume move yesterday. Johnson is right up there. But first one, Cochin Shipyard, 6.2 times the 2-week average, and price about 17% higher. Johnson Controls, 5 times the 2-week average, price about 19% higher. JK Paper had a good move, five times the 2-week average volumes, and price action about 5.78%. Dredging Corporation had a big move too yesterday, 10% price move uptick, and 4.2 times the 2-week average. And Balaji Mines, 3.9 times 2-week average, price lower, 3.4%. You know, the reason given by Balaji Mines for not giving out the results, that they are busy with the upcoming IPO. I think it didn't go down well with investors and traders, because I mean, for an upcoming IPO, if you're not in a position to be able to give out your current results, that isn't great news. And I think that is what has hurt the stock in trade yesterday, as it should, by the way. So yeah, that's the other stock in focus, so to say. There is possibly a large block deal in Global Spirits, so that's to be watched out for as well. A 25 lakh block between 975 to 985 rupees today, and therefore that stock could well be the one to watch out for at 915. I'm just trying to get you the price at 994. So in and around the similar market price, not too much of a discount for Global Spirits. Couple of brokerage notes. The one that was standing out for me was this HSBC on Brookfield REIT. Remember, it's not for somebody who wants a 25% compounding. Their target price, in fact, has come off to 315 from 325. But they say that after a tough QIP, this company, Brookfield REIT, has now completed its major acquisitions with procedural formalities remaining. Company is likely to be monetization vehicle for all the under construction assets of the group. And the REIT offers a DPU yield of 7.1%. So keep that in mind, that it is for that kind of a number, or slightly higher, is what you are watching out for. So that's to be kept in mind. Some other brokerage notes. There is Tata Motors and Ashok Leyland. Goldman Sachs has reiterated buy on Tata Motors at 710, on Ashok Leyland at 230. Bernstein initiated coverage on NTPC with a target price of 274. And well, Bajaj Finance, L&T Finance, Bajaj Finance and Canfin Homes, Morgan Stanley is overweight, the target price of 9,500 and 1,000 respectively. On L&T Finance, I think it's underweight rating. So those are a few things. Obviously, not too many results to watch out for. I think, if I'm not wrong, there is a GMDC board meet today for increase of dividend that might bring about some action in the stock. So do watch out for that. All Gujarat PSUs, if they up the dividends that they have to pay, they might become attractive in some fashion. So watch out for those names as well. But let's see if the Indian markets withstand the selling pressure in the global markets as well as they did yesterday. From a bull's perspective, fingers crossed for that. A bear would be hoping that doesn't happen. Let's see who wins. Thanks so much for tuning into the trade setup. Clutch of very interesting conversations lined up on the platform today. Anshu Singhal, Mahana Gas at 10. Ashish Gaikwad of Honeywell Automation joins in at 10:30 to talk about the numbers. More importantly, what is the way ahead? Because this space is looking red hot. Stocks in Focus with Pankaj Pandey and Trade Talk with Chandan Taparia at 3:15. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Trade Setup today.